Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the 2020 Global Read Aloud, where we are reading Planet Omar Accidental Trouble Magnet by Zineb Mian. Now, in the last couple of chapters, what has been happening? In chapter 14, Charlie and Omar had a little run in with Daniel again at school. They thought there was going to be another instance of bullying, but Daniel just kind of called them a teacher's pet and stuff like that, and then it was over. So that was it with that. And then for Ramadan, Omar mentioned how it's a Muslim holiday and people are not allowed to eat from when the sun comes up in the morning until when the sun goes down at night, and their day is filled with prayers and other things like that to celebrate the holiday. All right. So we're going to continue on with chapter 15. Here we go. That evening, Mrs. Rogers came over for the first iftar, which is the food you eat when you break your fast at sunset. Her wrist still wasn't all better yet, and Mom and Dad had been sending dinner over to her so that she didn't have to cook for herself. But this was the first time she actually came to eat at our house, at our table. She watched everything we did quietly. With a smile in her eyes, she kept saying, "I see," and nodding her head. So there's Mrs. Rogers. Once we'd finished eating, she took her phone out and called John, who was her son, it turned out, and said, "The Muslims put less chili in their food for me, John. It was delicious." We all grinned because being called the Muslims was a bit of a fun joke for us all now. As the week went on, I noticed that everyone was getting used to not eating when the sun was out, and actually eating a bit too much when the sun went down. Normally, Miriam and I eat about the same amount, but now she was eating like a bear who hadn't had any food for the whole time it had been hibernating. So he's comparing his sister to eating like a bear who just came out of hibernation and I guess is really, really hungry. At first, I was worried that she would eat all the yummy samosas if I wasn't quick enough. But then I figured out that while she was busy munching, I could talk loads about my video games and she wouldn't tell me to shut up like she normally does. Mrs. Rogers came over for the iftar every day. She told me she liked the samosas best of all. By the time we got to Thursday, everyone was a little bit less patient, probably because they were hungry. It didn't help that Miriam had done really badly on her science test, which was a complete catastrophe. In our household, because she is the daughter of two successful scientists. Makes sense. Mom was telling her that it really wasn't good enough and that they would go over all the things that she found hard. And Dad was saying that they wouldn't be upset if they didn't believe that Miriam could do better. I looked at Miriam. Once I watched a video of a gorilla dad whose gorilla children were being really, really annoying, and he was trying his best to be patient and not to go ape until he did. Miriam reminded me of the gorilla, trying to stay calm. It didn't last long. "Well, it's not my fault, is it? You're the one who made me move to this stupid school and this stupid house," shouted Gorilla Miriam. "Mommy, I can do better, can't I?" said Issa. "Of course you can, sweetie," said Mom. For this, Miriam pinched Issa as she stormed out of the room. Mom was a bit flustered and didn't seem to notice, but I kept quiet about it because I might be able to use it against her in the future. Mom said I was sitting around doing nothing, so I should go and set the table for iftar and take the stones out of the middle of the dates and put nuts in instead. I wonder why they were called stones, and I imagine what would happen if there were real stones in dates and somebody tried to eat one, thinking it had a nut in it. If they didn't smash their teeth doing that and managed to swallow it instead, would it stay in their tummies forever, or would they poop it out? Just as I had finished setting the table, Dad came into the room. He liked that I had gone over the top and taken out fancy glasses and made the table look like they do in restaurants. Mom put her head around the door. She didn't like it. She said that her fancy glasses could get broken and that I shouldn't touch them. Then she told me to go and get Mrs. Rogers to join us for iftar. Mrs. Rogers bought a box of chocolates with her. It was only 12 steps from her front door to ours, which takes me about 12 seconds to walk across. It takes Mrs. Rogers 60 seconds. I timed it. Okay, so there's the walk. That was really hard for me to read because some of the words were upside down and like backwards. Very weird. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's really slow when you're doing it with her. While we walked, I had my eye on the chocolates. How could I make sure that Miriam didn't steal all the best ones? Mrs. Rogers knew the iftar routine now. When there were only 10 minutes left till the fast opened, she said, "Put the Islam channel on or we'll miss that nice song that tells us when the fast opens." We all tried not to look at each other and tried not to laugh. "That's called the Adhan, Mrs. Rogers," said Dad. "It's the call to prayer." "Oh, well, whatever it's called, it's very nice, dear," said Mrs. Rogers. Mrs. Rogers did the countdown, and everyone popped a date into their mouths when the fast opened, except me. I popped a chocolate from the box that Mrs. Rogers had brought into my mouth. Because my mouth had been waiting for them, and because my mouth likes chocolates very much. But instead of being very happy, my mouth was confused. There was a weird taste with the chocolate taste. I didn't like it. "Yuck," I said. "Oh, is it an alcohol one?" said Miriam. "What?" "We're not allowed alcohol, not even the adults, and I had never had it before." I quickly jumped up to spit it out and rinse my mouth. "Am I going to be drunk now?" I asked. Apparently, this was totally hilarious because you have to have a lot more alcohol than that to get drunk. Mrs. Rogers explained that to me after she finished laughing for 10 minutes straight. Okay. I'm not sure if the chocolate had alcohol in it or not, but Mrs. Rogers came over for iftar again, which is, I guess, what they do every night. What the Muslim people that are celebrating Ramadan do every night before their prayers begin or before they put in food, before they are able to eat food. So they pray and they're able to eat food. But Omar did that. What else did we have happen? Oh, Miriam did bad on her science test, which is really bad considering Omar's parents are both scientists. And she kind of blew up and was really upset about that. So, there's a little bit of problem going on with her, I guess, but, that's not really a big deal. Maybe she just needs to study a little bit more for her science test or something like that, and they could figure out what to do from there. All right, so my friends, that was chapter 15, right? And we will be back with chapter 16 next time. See ya.